I was 35 years old when I moved back into my childhood bedroom. Just saying those words made me feel like I had failed. A decade earlier, I had left home full of confidence. I had a good job, a growing savings account, and a plan for my future. My parents stood in the driveway waving as I drove away. I remember promising myself that I would never need to move back. Life had other plans. It started with layoffs. The company I worked for lost major contracts and began reducing staff. I told myself I would quickly find another job. I had experience, qualifications, references. What could go wrong? Months passed. Interviews came and went. Rejections accumulated. My savings started shrinking. At first, I wasn't worried. That was what savings were for. Then my car needed repairs, then rent increased, then another month passed without employment. The numbers in my bank account began falling faster than I expected. I stopped meeting friends, stopped going out, stopped answering certain phone calls, not because people were unkind, because I was embarrassed. Eventually, I found temporary work, then another temporary job, then another. None lasted, each paid less than the one before. The life I had spent years building seemed to be slowly collapsing. The day I realized I could no longer afford my apartment, I sat alone at the kitchen table for nearly 2 hours. I kept hoping another solution would appear. None did. Finally, I called my father. I still remember the silence after I explained my situation. Then he said something simple: "Come home." I thanked him and ended the call. Then I cried, not because he had rejected me, because he hadn't. Part of me had been hoping he would say no. That way, I could blame circumstances instead of facing my pride. A week later, I loaded my remaining belongings into a rented van. As I drove toward my parents' house, I felt like I was moving backward through life. The bedroom looked smaller than I remembered. The furniture was different. But the feeling of defeat was exactly the same every morning. Neighbors recognized me. Relatives asked questions. Friends offered encouragement. I heard kindness. What I felt was shame. I kept comparing myself to former classmates. Some were buying homes, some were advancing their careers, some were raising families. Meanwhile, I was living with my parents again. The worst part was not their judgment, it was my own. For months, I treated my stay like a temporary disaster. I avoided conversations, stayed in my room, sent job applications daily, measured my worth entirely by employment status. One evening, I overheard my parents talking in the kitchen. My mother said she was happy to have me home. My father agreed. Then he said something that stayed with me. He thinks we're disappointed in him. There was a pause. We're just glad he's not carrying this alone. I sat quietly in the hallway listening. For years, I had viewed independence as proof of success. My parents viewed family differently. To them, home was not a reward for winning. It was a place to return when life became difficult. That realization changed something. I stopped seeing myself as a burden. I started helping around the house, cooking meals, running errands, driving my parents to appointments. For the first time in years, I spent real time with them. I learned stories I had never heard before. My father admitted he had once lost a business and moved back in with his own parents. My mother told me about financial struggles she had hidden from us as children. Suddenly, my failure looked less unique, less permanent, less shameful. 8 months after moving home, I found a stable job. A year later, I rented my own place again. The day I moved out, my parents stood in the driveway just as they had years earlier. Only this time I understood something I hadn't understood before. Success is not measured by how rarely you fall. It is measured by how you respond when you do. Looking back, losing my job felt like the worst thing that could happen to me. In reality, it forced me to confront something far more dangerous than unemployment: my pride. I had spent years believing strength meant never needing help.
What I eventually learned was that strength sometimes means accepting help with gratitude instead of shame. Because life can humble anyone, and there is no disgrace in returning home when you need somewhere safe to begin again.